everybody. Welcome to episode 57 of the Underground Gospel Show. Yes, tonight we're doing something that's a little different. I've wanted to do this for a long time. These are going to be theme shows, and I'm hoping that for the rest of the year, at least, I'll be able to do these theme shows. Another nice thing is that I'm recording these a little earlier. I don't know if I'm going to have time to edit this at all, so it's still going to be live. It's still live streamed. It's just pre-recorded live. If that makes any sense. I am alive right now. Hey, welcome to the Underground Gospel Show. You've probably found this because you were taping in about what the theme is. Tonight, episode 57 is about missionary, and I'll be telling a few missionary stories. I don't know if you know this. You might not. This might be your first time here. If it is, my name's Knight, and I'm a instrumental guitar player. I'll be playing some songs written by people on missions, believe it or not, and people who have been on missions. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about a few different things. If you like, that should have been edited out. Needless to say, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the like button if you're on Facebook or whatever they have on Twitch, because we show on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, and it'll be showing tonight on all three of those streams. We multi stream on all of them, trying to get out on the interwebs, as it were. And so, thank you for tuning in. There's no trolling here. This is a safe spot. This is a place where you can just relax. You're not going to hear anything that you wouldn't that you'd be ashamed to hear. Okay, so this is always just going to be joyful and uplifting. I hope that's the goal, is to bring joy and upliftingness. Upliftedness. There has some uplifting into your life. How about that? We'll just go there. As you can tell, I'm not really big on words, hence the reason I'm an instrumental player. Um, but anyway, if you like what you see here, you can go to the little scrolly things at the bottom. I used to try to point to them because I can look at a little monitor and I can see where they are. They're like right there and they're going this way. But the trouble is, this broadcasts out 22 seconds after I'm doing it. So it's my fingers never anywhere near the words, because when it shows to you, it's completely different from when it shows to me. Huh. Yeah, but it's live streaming, but there's a 22-second delay. 22-second or 22 millisecond? I think it's a 22-second delay. I think it's a long delay, to tell you the truth. Anyway, so let's see. Where am I going to go after that? I have a little housekeeping thing. Let's make sure that I've hit all this. You can go to that night-music.com, and we have show times, and we have links, and we have links to garments. We have a great garment line, and they say Jesus in multiple languages. I think we now have about a dozen languages that you can say Jesus in. And you can wear it. And I mean, let's face it, wearing a shirt that says, with Russian wording, and it says Jesus, but it just looks cool because it's Russian. And most people don't speak Russian, especially here in the United States. I speak about 10 languages at the level of a dog. But it's really funny because I work with the people from all over the world. And, so I'm just like, so I had, from my friends from Egypt, or, Zayak, which is like, hey, how are you? Or I'll say Privyet from, my friends in Russia, or I'm, Ni hao to my friends in China, or Konnichiwa, or Ohio gozaimasu, depending on what time I see them, my friends who speak Japanese. So it's really fun to be able to know a few languages, and of course I speak Australian if I need to, and English and American and Southern, and if you spoke sign language, you probably wouldn't be listening to this, but you'd know what that meant. Anyway, so let's see. I don't speak so that God can speak directly to your heart, and I hope that He does do this. I hope that when you're listening to this in the future, you'll get some answers about what you're looking to, and we'll almost done with the housekeeping, and we'll be on with the show. There are some sponsorship opportunities. I would like to be running a commercial in the middle of this. You're not going to see it today. I don't have the commercial drawn up. This is just a test of, will this new system work? And if you'd like me to come to your city, your church, or an event that you're doing, I'm up for it. We are booked for all of 2022, so I won't be doing any other traveling. Well, I am traveling a lot during 2022, but we're not going to be doing any more bookings. So we're done for the year as far as the bookings. We'll be booking now. Did I say 22? Oh my goodness. We're booked for 2021. We're accepting bookings for 2022. So I'm a little off on that, but just if you're interested, let me know. You can contact me through the website once again at night-music.com, and we'll get all that information out. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about real quickly, let's just make sure I got the show information up that I got so I can do anything. Story of the Vacationary. Yes. So, and Jesus said in today's verse, which is Matthew 28:19, go to all the nations and speak the gospel, proclaim it in my name. Jesus only actually told us to do one thing, and that was to go. That's called the Great Commission, to go and spread the gospel. Jesus only said to go. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, no, Jesus said that we should love God with our whole heart, mind, body, and soul, and that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. I know a lot of churches teach that, but the actual physical in the Bible part, when Jesus was doing that, he was asked by some Pharisees, what's the greatest commandment? You know, because the Pharisees was going to say, okay, because to them, they were all from God, so they're all equally important. And he said that the greatest of them all is to love God with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole body, your whole soul. And by the way, guys, you should love God with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole body, your whole soul. You should love God. Okay, so please, if you're like, I don't know what to do, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, how about you loving God with your whole heart, your whole mind, your whole body? And so seek Him, seek His face, seek His heart, love God, and then secondly, love your neighbor as yourself. But Jesus said those were the greatest commandments. Okay. What he actually only told people to ever do was to go collect some bread, go out to the neighbors, go over here, go over the hill and get a donkey. I mean, he told people to go. And if you're wondering, should I go on a missions trip? Yes, you should go. Now, there is one person he did not say go to. When he first met Matthew, Matthew was in the boat and he yelled out to Matthew, Matthew, I want you to come with me. Now, Matthew turned to the other guys of the boat and said, I'm going to go. And from that point on, Jesus said, let's go. So I just want to point that out that if God's putting on your heart, if you typed in missionary and somehow you got on this page by looking for a missionary, should you go? This means yes. Okay, so you should probably go on that missions trip that you're doing. Or that you're thinking about. Now, a lot of people are down on short-term missions. You know, they're like, well, you don't really do a whole lot of, they call them vacationaries. Okay. I'm a musician. I actually went on musicianary trips and I'll be doing some musicianary songs in just a few minutes by other people who are out on mission trips that use music. But it's should you do a short-term mission trip? Yes. The answer is yes, you should go. You should go. I had a person one time who came back, and when they came back, they were just appalled. They were just like, I can't believe what I saw out there. These children, they're these poor kids. They were running in playgrounds with broken glass, and you know nobody was caring about it. Nobody was doing anything about it. They weren't picking up the glass. They knew these kids were just running around, and they weren't giving them shoes, and they weren't giving me anything. I'm like, well, that's what you were there for. She goes, what do you mean? I said, you didn't, I don't know what you thought you were going there to find, but God opened your heart to a need while you were out there. You saw something that nobody else seemed to see. I mean, how many people were there? Probably 20, 30 adults. And you're the only one who noticed that. Well, that's because God selected you to do something about it. Now, I'm going to give you a warning about going out on a missions trip. Okay, here's the warning. And I got this from a pastor, a missions pastor, who told it to me. So I don't know if the percentages are right. He said that most people, after they go on a missions trip, come back and never talk about it again. They are so abhorred with the poverty and the misery and the sickness and they see things that were just like they had no idea because they come from the United States and they go into third world countries. And you got to understand before you leave that about, and I read this from a book called Steve Green, and it was about money. But he said that, you know, 50% of the world does not make $250 a year. And me being in the entertainment business, there are days that I make more than some of the people that I serve on mission trips. And I know this, I make more in a day than they'll make in their entire life. Okay. I mean, it breaks my heart, but they don't have long lifespans. You know, they were doing great for poverty, but there's still the lifespan of, 40, 45, 50 years old. You find somebody who's 60 years old, that's really old. You go to some places like Okinawa and they have a lot of centenarians, but they do things for their health and they do things for people that most nations don't do. Um, but when you go into this world, you'll find out that there's a lot of need and a lot of poverty. Then they have things that we don't have. I mean, you're going to see joy that you never saw before. These that people in this world are so happy. They don't have things like depression. They don't have anxiety. They don't have worry. They have joy. But what they don't have is shoes. And what they don't have is clothing. What they don't have is money. What they don't have is, I mean, a lot of places don't have food. A lot of places, you're going out there and you're giving them hope and you're giving them a beacon of hope. And, because I remember this one child, I was in Africa and they put their arms around me and like, oh, now I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'10". I weigh about 180 pounds. But he put his arms around me and said, "You're so fat. You must be very rich." And I'm just like, I love you. Okay. Yes. I don't feel like I'm fat. Could drop 20 pounds. I thought I could drop 5. Maybe I should drop 20. But anyway, there's joy when you're out there in this world. But I'm just letting you know that the most people, when they come back from a short term mission trip, will not want to go back again. They don't even talk about it to anybody. Um, there's a reason for that too. I believe that they don't think they can make a difference. And the truth of the matter is, you can make a difference. I'll tell you another story in just a second, but I wanted to tell you also about the fact that there's a large group of people, and you might be one of these also. You might know people that did this. There's a lot of people that do this. They come back from the mission trip and they're so affected by it that they sell everything that they have and they go join the poor. They move to that country thinking that they can make a difference in the lives of people, and they join them and they join them. And that's then their whole life becomes one of asking for money, calling everybody that they know saying, "Hey, I'm over here and we need stuff, so could you please help us?" And what they're actually saying is, "Can you please help me, because I have no money and I have an idea, but yeah, I don't have any money, so please send me some money because we're hungry and we have no money." And trust me, you're not going to be able to pave the roads in Africa. You're not going to be able to, um, set up the infrastructure of electricity. I remember some friends of mine moved to Uganda, and the first thing they did was they bought a refrigerator. God bless them, and a washer and dryer and a stove. And then they realized that the electricity basically runs for about an hour every day, sometimes every 2 days. Uganda generates a lot of electricity, but they send it to other parts of Africa. They don't save it for themselves. So as soon as you have that 1 hour of electricity, you plug everything in because you charge everything up. But and then it just turns off, and it's just off until it turns back on again. I mean, you'll be in the middle of you'll be like 10 o'clock at night, and then all of a sudden, boom, the lights come on. It's like, plug everything in, you know. Um, but there is that 1%. That's was what the pastor told me. He said there's a 1% that come back and they devise a plan. It's like, I'm going to go and I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to, myself, I'm an audio guy, I'm a musician. So when I go overseas, I help with audio. I teach people how to, use audio. In fact, I was given the name Shamakola in Uganda by the king of the Lugandan tribe, and they gave me the name Shamakola because that is a person who brings understanding to the people. Because I'm an audio guy, so what I do is I'll go out there and teach people about gain structure and input, and I won't get into a lot of it because I do a 1 day class where I basically teach them how sound works. And so by teaching them how sound works, they're able to go out later on that day sometimes and get work, if not that weekend. So I would teach orphans who basically are going, they turn 18 at 18. If they don't have the sponsorship to go to university, then basically they lose the orphanage, they lose their food, they lose their money, they lose, their clothing, they lose a place to live, and they don't have a job. So I'll go teach audio engineering because that's all, all I know is sound. I'm a sound guy. Anyway, so now I haven't even got to the first song and I'm 15 minutes into this thing. I think I'm going to have to redo this format. But I'm going to do a couple of songs and I'm going to tell you a couple more stories. This is a song by a group called Third Day. And once again, these are groups that go out all around the world and play music. They are musicianaries, they are Christian musicians. And this is called God of Wonders. I hope I can do this right. I did this earlier and I realized, man, I need to practice more. I can talk, I can chit chat, and I can play, but I need to play a little bit more. So I hope you enjoy this song. Once again, God of Wonders. Yes, there was another time I was thinking it. I wasn't even going to tell this story to tell you the truth. But we were in Africa, and one of the people who worked at an orphanage said, "I don't. You know a lot about computers because I do." And I was working on a computer, and I was setting some stuff up. And he goes, "Can you look at one of my computers isn't working right now?" And so I was wondering if you could look at it. I'm like, "Sure." So I went to turn it on, and it came up with a little splash screen on the front, and I knew exactly what happened. I looked at my this fell off a table, didn't it? Because the RAM got unseated. I won't tell you what that is, but needless to say, the RAM got unseated. And he goes, "Yeah, it fell off a table." And I said, "No, no problem. Just give me a screwdriver. I can fix this in no time at all." And so he goes off and he comes back and he brought me this awl. I wish I could show it. An awl is a thing that you use. It looks like an ice pick, but you use it to put holes in the wall when you're putting screws, mason screws. Anyway, so he brought me like this ice pick looking thing that looked like a hanger that had been bent to try to open up a. I mean, basically they used it to hammer into concrete a lot too many times, and so it was like an old crooked, and then he gave me a stick. He goes, "Well, if you use the stick sometimes you can actually turn the screws." And I'm like, "You don't have a screwdriver?" And he's like, "No, I don't have a screwdriver." There was nothing I could do. I can't open up a computer with a stick. I'm sorry. I mean, God can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, except open up a laptop computer that fell off a desk with a stick. Yeah, seems that I wasn't able to do that. Needless to say, about 3 weeks later, I was back in Nashville, and I found out that another friend of mine was going back out to Uganda. So I called her up and said, "Do me a favor here. Let me send you some money. I need you to go buy a tool set, one of these multi tool sets, 65 all purpose tools type of things. Put it into your, that has to have metric and imperial because I'm not sure what they're getting out there. So go ahead, even though there's only 3 countries that use imperial, measurements, everybody else uses metrics. But since so many things are being given by the United States and from another country that, uses imperial, then there's a pretty good chance it's an imperial setup. Anyways, so but let's have metric and imperial. And so she's like, "Art, I can't do it. We are so packed up. We're taking out diapers and t-shirts and socks and mosquito netting and all these. We can't get anything more in our bags. We're completely packed up." I'm like, "I'm talking about a little tool set." She goes, "There's not a chance." I said, "Okay." Well, the day before she was going to leave, I get this phone call, and she's like, "Art, I think we have room for your tool sets now." And I'm like, "How come?" She goes, "Well, my daughter, who's going on the missions trip with us, lost her passport. So we have to overnight a passport. And so I've had to pay all this extra money, and we're going to miss the flight because it's not going to be here till tomorrow. And so we're going to be a day late, so we get a whole nother set of bags to take with us." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I'm as sorry for you as I can possibly be because you can take this tool set." Anyway, so I sent her some money. She went and got the tools. I think her boyfriend at the time, or husband, and the husband now was boyfriend at the time, went out there and bought multi-purpose set. So she comes back off the trip and she calls me up. She goes, "Art, oh, how are you doing?" I said, "Great." She goes, "I got to tell you, I will never doubt you again." I'm like, "Why? I mean, you doubted me for what?" She goes, "The tools." She goes, "I got the men together. I said that, Mazunga art. Mazunga is what they call white people in Africa. So Mazunga art, white man art, basically, are, I should say, light skinned, depending on how you feel about that. Anyway, so because I'm really light skinned. Anyway, but Mazunga Art set out a gift for you. And so all these men sat down. There's like 6 of them in the room or 8 of them. And so, she gave it to the papa of the orphanage and he opened it up. And she said the look on their face was incredible. Each man grabbed a tool and ran out of the office to fix something because there was something that every guy knows how to do. We know how to fix things. That's what we want to do. But if we don't have the tool to do it, you can't do it. I can't fix a computer with a stick. Okay. But if you give me a screwdriver, dude, I'll have that thing spinning and I'll have that working in, 3 minutes. Well, they all took tools and they ran out and they fixed something. And then they came back and pulled the tool and they grabbed another one, ran out there. Now, if you can imagine, like 8 guys running for 2 days, running around fixing stuff, okay, that all needed to be fixed. The greatest need first, all the way down to the least, but they were fixing stuff. She goes, I have never seen anything like it. These guys worked for days just fixing things that need, I mean, fixing light bulbs and I mean, you don't even know. You don't even know. Trust me. Unless you've been on a mission trip, you don't know. So here's the deal. When you go, I'm not going to say if you go, because Jesus told us to go. So if you're a Christian and you want to prove you're a Christian, you don't have to do anything, okay, to be a Christian, by the way. God's grace is sufficient. There's nothing you're going to do to earn salvation. Okay. He's already done it. It's already been done. You know, put a nail in it. I'm sorry, I'm going to cry here, but put a period on it. It's done. It is done. When he died on the cross and you accept him as your savior, it's done. There's nothing you need to do. But little comma, if you feel that you should go and do something that Jesus said to do, that would be to go. Take a tool set with you. Okay. You're going to run into a guy who's going to be like, man, I would sure like to be able to fix fill in the blank, and you're going to give them the tool set. So I just want to tell you, take a tool set with you, a multi-purpose one, probably metric, and let them fix stuff because they really want to fix stuff. I'm supposed to play some more music here. I guess I'll play like an Irish song, and I think the Irish song probably, it's really funny because Ireland is right next to England. I know that England uses the imperial setup like we do, foot, inches, 5/8 and things like that, not metric. But they do use, I don't know if I've been in Ireland and I don't know if they use imperial or metric. I would assume that because of their proximity to England, they would use imperial. Anyway, so this is an Irish song. Hope you enjoy it. All right. Well, I spent too much time, a lot too much time talking about talking about some of my missions trips because I've been on every continent of the planet except for Antarctica. I have not been to Antarctica. In fact, I do have a plan now. I have a friend, and I wanted to kiss her, and I told her that what I want to do is I want to kiss her on every single time zone at the same time. And she goes, "What?" I said, "I want to kiss you in every time zone." And I said, I found a place where we can actually kiss at every time zone at the same exact time. And she goes, "Where's that?" I said, "Well, here's a little hint. If a bear walks by, he might be white." And she's like, "Art, you hate cold. You don't even put ice in your drinks." I'm like, "Oh, no, I know I hate cold." I said, "But it's 5 days. And how many people do you know that have actually been to the North Pole? I mean, personally, no. And she's like, none, zero. She goes, and if anybody else in the world had told me that we're going to go to the North Pole, I would think they're crazy. Um, and you might just be going alone, but yeah, there's a good chance we're going to the North Pole. So it'll be kind of fun because I've been in every time zone because I've flown around the world. I mean, I don't think there's my trips. I don't think there's a time zone I have not been in. So I that's kind of an interesting thing, and I'm not going to be able to finish this set because we're out of time. But tomorrow I want to tell you there are some stories. I'm going to tell you a story about some of the people that I've met on mission trips. There's one little boy, Eddie. I'm going to tell you his story, and I'm going to tell you a story about, oh my gosh, coming home from a missions trip to Africa. This is a great, great story. And this is something that you're going to experience too when you come home. You're going to find out that it changes you. I mean, it changes you in good, good, good ways. Okay. If there's things about you that you're like, I'm just never going to be that person, go. When you come back, you're going to be that person. So stay tuned for part two. That happens tomorrow, and I'll be telling you part two tomorrow night. Anyway, God bless you. Thank you so much for your willingness and a heart to serve. And I know you're going to enjoy your trip. Go ahead and book it now. Make sure you have your passport. Make sure you have a tool set. And yeah, I know that they really need t-shirts and they really need mosquito netting. No, they don't. They really need a screwdriver. Okay. So, anyway, God bless you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye.